All right, next up we've got a competition squat, bench, and deadlift that we're going to be reviewing for technical deficiencies as well as weak ranges of motion, any sort of weaknesses or anything like that. So we'll start with the squat, obviously, and there's seems to be a little bit of a twist. You can see it a little bit on your way down. It seems like you maybe started off twisted and are straightening up in the bottom, or your right shoulder looks like it comes forward a little bit and your left shoulder is coming back. So check on that. Make sure that your feet are even. Yeah, I would check your stance there. Other than that, technically, I don't see anything that looks bad. This is a pretty classic, I think, high bar squat position, so at least it looks high bar from your technical execution of it and your bottom position and everything else. So that all looks fine. In terms of weak ranges of motion, nothing is super obvious from this one. It's not going to hurt you to have a pretty balanced output. Weak ranges of motion for a lift like this it's hard to go wrong with quads, but at the same time you don't exhibit the classic quad deficiency pattern, so I wouldn't really worry about that so much. You also don't really exhibit a chest fall pattern, so I wouldn't worry about that either. So what I would think about for you in terms of assistance exercises are things more along the lines of pause squats. And when it comes to the supplemental exercises, a good balance is going to be healthy for you. If you wanted to bias that anyway, I would go in the direction of more quad work. Like I say, you don't really exhibit the pattern, but with a squat like this, it's going to be hard to go wrong with additional quad size and strength. So keeping a good balance is going to be key, though. You're definitely going to want to do that. And see about getting rid of that twist. That would be something that I'd want to see you work on. So let's move on to the bench here. Pretty classic bench execution pattern. Your grip is a bit narrower than what we often see. I'm sure that this is intentional, and it's not a bad fit for you or anything like that. Like, I don't notice any problems with it, so you're fine to keep using that grip. Just be aware that it's going to be a little bit more tricep and shoulder heavy when it comes to the muscle activation itself. Weak range of motion is going to be right off the chest. Let me see if I can stop the video. Try it again. There, even maybe a touch lower than that. So pause work, chest level pin press, all that stuff is going to be your friend. When it comes to supplemental work, I don't see anything that really stands out, at least from this video. I would maybe tend to bias your training a little bit more toward shoulders. It doesn't look like you need a lot of additional tricep work, and of course pec development isn't going to hurt. So a balanced supplemental diet there is going to help you. But if you're going to bias it any direction, I would say in the direction of additional shoulder training. So let's look at the deadlift. All right, for your deadlift, all right, that looks pretty solid. Give it a few more watches. You look like you're in a pretty flat back position. So your weak range of motion is going to typically be off the floor. And that seems to hold true here. Once it gets to around knee level, lockout's never really in doubt. You know, it's pretty obvious that you're going to complete that lift. So I would say that your weak range of motion is going to be around the bottom. You know, doing things like pause deadlifts and deficit deadlifts, even isometric pulls, pulls into rack pins is going to be helpful. That needs to be programmed as part of a larger programming context, though. So if that's a thing that you're interested in trying, let me know. We can talk about how to do that. For now, though, pause deadlifts, deficit deadlifts are going to be good choices. When it comes to supplemental movements, basically anything posterior chain, you know, it's difficult to tell whether it's a hip or a back weakness, and ultimately it doesn't matter that much, because the way that you're going to train either of those muscles will train both of those muscles. So things like straight leg deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, good mornings, even though they tend to bias in terms of where it's most effective, like RDLs tend to be a little bit more focused on hip extension more so than lower back strength, they still have a pretty strong lower back component. You know, so that class of exercises trains the posterior chain. That's why it's known as a posterior chain. So training any of those is going to train all of them. So you'll want to, you know, keep a good rotation of supplemental movements in there. All right, so hope that helped, and if you have any questions on it, let me know.